Hey guys, it's the team here at Authentic Mission, and it's Sunday, and I've got a small thing to talk about in this video, but I've kind of talked about it before, but here's another way of looking at it. Okay, you've heard me on different videos on this channel talk about finding your path and finding your way and blah, 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 blah. And we can read all the self help books we want. We can read the Bible if we want. We can read everything that we need. But what you need to do, in my personal opinion, and you can try journaling every day. And if you can't do it every day, because don't get me wrong, I don't do it every day, just take some time out, even if it's once a week, even if it's on a Sunday. It's supposed to be the day of rest and reflection anyway, and prayer and whatever. Do it on Sunday maybe. But just I talk all the time about finding your path, and um, the reason I did that is because through me talking about stuff, it's easy for me to finally realize. Like it's almost like God kind of unlocks certain parts of my brain, and I kind of go, "Oh, wait a minute, hello," and I realize something different every day. If we stop growing every day, and we stop and we like look, if you can and if you have a church community, go to that church community. That's great. But if you can't, or you don't know where to go because there's so many versions, for lack of a better word, of Christianity, or so many different versions of faith out there, and so many misunderstandings and stuff. Like, I was watching an old episode of All in the Family the other day, and they said that, different people, like for Buddhism, call God Buddha, and that's backwards. That's wrong. That much I do know. Buddha was not a god. Is not a god. He was a man that kind of went on his own little spiritual journey. Again, he found his path, and he was like, as far as I know. Now you can do your own research on Google. I admit I'm only doing what I know. I'm only saying what I know or what I'm aware of. And if anybody wants to educate me on this, feel free to comment. That's cool. Um, as far as I know, Buddha was like a well-off man in whatever year, or he would have been considered rich. Not, I don't think that meant by money. I think that meant by maybe a home, maybe you know how much crops he was able to have, different things like that. And something felt empty. Something felt uh, like like I just said, something felt empty, and I don't know how else to say it. He for everything that he had, he was like, okay, is that pretty much like, okay, is that it? And more recently, I think it was about 10 years ago now, the director of classic comedies like Ace Ventura, and Liar Liar, and Nutty Professor, and The Clumps. And, he pretty much had that moment too. Like, he had a empty kind of feeling, and he went on Oprah and said, like, I had a mansion, I had 5 bathrooms, I had 10 bedrooms, and it was just like, okay, is this it? And he ended up, as far as I know, selling his home, moving into a small trailer. He's still rich, but I think he gave a portion of his money to charity. And like, I look at me trying to do my work and trying to become like I found faith after pretty severe mental breakdown, because I used to um, try and bury things with anger and a little bit of drugs, a little bit of alcohol. I still, and I'm not talking like weed. I do use cannabis for medical and spiritual use, but I was doing like stupid drugs. I was doing man-made drugs, ecstasy, cocaine, and watching movies like Blow and which I still love that movie because it's kind of a true story. But it gave you're watching it and you're like, yeah, that guy's huge. That guy, he's a drug lord. Blah blah blah. That was a what do you call it? A disconnection on my part. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, he might have been a rich drug dealer. He might have, but he obviously got busted if they made a movie about him, and now he's out of jail. I think like 73, 74 years old. And yeah, I've made videos about that before too. And I went to church. I loved the people at the church. I was looking for answers because I started going, okay, I can't go back down this road of anger anymore, and mental breakdown and being used by people and allowing myself to be used by people. And like, I just thought, like, okay, I'm gonna have my own house one day, I'm gonna do this. But when I was younger, I didn't do it in the sense of like having a plan. I just naively kind of thought, I've got all the time in the world. Things are gonna fall into place. On some level, that's true. You can't obsess over things, and things will just happen. But you also have to make them happen. And I didn't have that connection. And I was trying to deny who I am and deny, being the whole me. And I was denying being gay and experimenting with friends in college, and like people do that. But we were all lying to each other and going, well, we're not gay, we're just whatever. So I was just an impulse person in the sense that, oh, well, I'm just going to go with it. And I'm not going to actually deal with these emotions. And I was numb to what was going on around me and what I was allowing to go on around me. And, you can't do that. Like, I mean, let's face it, life, hey, I could be dead tomorrow. I don't want to be. I got a lot of stuff to do, but I mean, hey, I could have a bad heart right now and not even know it. I don't know. I could go out in traffic and get hit by a car. I don't know. Excuse me. Life just happens. But we do have to, I think now more than ever, when you're young, try to find your place in life. Like, when you're in college, don't just go to college and oh, well, I'm going to be an electrician. If that's what you want to be, cool. But don't do it because, oh, well, your family suggested making good money by being an electrician. Go for the apprenticeship. You don't just go into life of safety. Because I don't remember the statistic, but it's been said that people will, I'm just going to throw a number, but people will change their careers. I think it is twice or three times in their lifetime. I know, my members of my family did. If that's the life you want for yourself of coming home 9 to 5 or whatever, then good. But don't just do it because of safety. You have to find your path, and there's different levels of finding your path. Like when I came home from my situation of a mental breakdown and wondering who I was, and regretting a lot of wasted time. I still occasionally feel like it was wasted time, but I also look at it and go, okay, that was the path. It went right off course, but this is the new day, the new path. You have to try and figure it out before. You have to look at life as stages. Like, I mean, Oprah talks all the time about, oh, well, I didn't realize who I was till I was 30. And then if you notice, she'll say, I didn't realize who I was till I was 50. She changes it all the time. And in a sense, people make fun of that. Like, I kind of just did. But in another sense, it's kind of true. Because you're never the same person you were from 20 to 30 to 50. Like, and if you are, then you're not growing as a human being. You're not growing as a spiritual being. Like, life is never going to be 100% this way, 100% that way. So what we need to do is realize, okay, this is one stage at this point, and this is one stage at this point. I went to church looking for answers, and I kind of got them. But then I started to realize that there's for me, it happened all too much too fast at one point, because I was, I'm watching my grandparents get older, and it's hurtful, it's scary. And then you're watching, all I'll say, because I don't want to offend people at the church, is something started to feel different right around the time when I connected business and the church. I was doing some things for the church. I was trying to grow my company through the church. And business and church should never go together, because, well, again, I don't want to offend anybody from the church, but that can't be, you can't connect it. You can't put church and business together. And I kind of started to get a bad taste in my mouth because of it. And then I got a bad taste in my mouth when some people started to just say things about money and about faith and 10% or tithes. And I've heard other priests say tithes isn't 10%, it's 20%. The minute you bring church and money together, that's when you start to realize the politics. And, I remember one day at a Bible study, the pastor was giving this lesson on, hey, this is what we had to show the Canadian government to show that we were a church, and we had to describe our faith, and we had to. Why should you have to describe your faith? Why? So the government can watch over it and kind of study human behavior? They're already doing that through social media. So I started to realize that the politics of the church and faith and money should not be going together. And I started to question a lot of things. And then I almost had another nervous breakdown when I was working so much that I wasn't dealing with feeling lonely, and I wasn't dealing with feeling like still wondering who am I, and knowing that God's forgiven me for who I was, but then feeling like I gotta justify that through like I gotta get acceptance from other people. The only ones that you should get acceptance from is yourself, and hopefully you do have a supportive circle, as I call it. You have a group of people with you and around you that know you, that know your past, or even know your present, and hopefully offer you opinions, but don't judge you. Okay, and they accept your faults and your good things and your and you know that's why I believe some people are workaholics, because they don't want to deal with emotions. That's why people have addictions, period, because they don't want to deal with emotions, and they're human emotions that none of us can control, like fear of death or fear of the unknown, like wondering, hey, could I be dead tomorrow? Could I be dead next week? Could I be dead in 20 years? Or feeling like the universe is against you, because I was working, and then all of a sudden some things went south with the business and with church, and it was all too much at once, and I was starting to feel like the universe was against me. And I was giving what I call negative thoughts and negative energy too much energy, and I wasn't taking control, and I was starting to feel like the universe is against me. Do I think that the universe is some sort of cosmic force now that's out to knock me down? No. I think it's just some negative energy that tries to get to you, and then if you give it energy, it grows. But then it could also be God or the universe just trying to teach you a lesson. So my path at the time that I came home was church and looking for answers. And then I started to realize that, okay, wait, things are going a little bit, maybe there's something for me to learn over here. And I was, then I was starting to wonder, okay, well, where do I see myself? Do I need love? Do I need someone to love? Do I need someone to roll over and see the next day? At this point in my life, I'm going to say no. Because if you try to take on too much at once, it can overwhelm you, and then the negative energies and negative thoughts can come in. So take life as a step-by-step path, a step-by-step journey. That's all I want to say about that, and we'll do another video about this or a book coming soon. Later.